What is going on, guys? This is your boy, the Tam1 from V-Side, Tan-Tiger01, the Bengal Dragon. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow me on Twitter, Tan-Tiger01, Twitch and Instagram1, follow me on Instagram as well, hit that bell notification button. I'm here to give you my thoughts on the New Zealand cricket squad for the 2019 World Cup today. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so this team is going to be captained by Kane Williamson. Obviously, the top middle order batsman. I don't think he's gonna open. Still not 30 yet. Yeah, he said top order batsman, but I don't think he's gonna open. It's gonna be number 3. Okay. Now he's obviously gonna be one of the people who New Zealand rely on the most in terms of getting runs. Yes, they're gonna have their openers in terms of getting them off to a flying start, but I don't think the bulk of the scoring will be done by the. I think the bulk of the scoring will be done by people like Williamson, and Ross Taylor. Okay, so I'll leave it at that for now. He's been in pretty good form of late in ODIs. Okay, Tom Blundell. Okay, he's he's the wicket keeper. Okay, I thought it was someone else. I thought it was Tom Latham was the wicketkeeper, unless he changed his name. But other than that, I'm sorry, I can't tell you much about Tom Blundell. I've not heard this person's name before, so sorry about that. Um, Trent Bolt, the left arm seamer. Now, here's the thing. He can be. Here's the thing. He's of late. He's a bit on and off. He's not consistent. He's a bit on and off, and that's the one thing that's concerning about Trent Bolt. And it seems he's perhaps he's not even 30. He's perhaps more effective in a test than ODIs, but on his own, yeah, he at times he can change the momentum of a match, but he needs a good support structure. But in these situations, I have a feeling Trent Bolt is going to be one of the much more effective left arm pacers, because Trent Bolt is someone who relies a lot on, let's say, immaculate line and length, and and is much more accurate than some of the other left arm some of the other left arm pacers. Like, he's one of those bowlers who's more likely than not. I'm not saying it can't happen, but more likely than not is not going to be that expensive in context. Like, obviously, if a team scores 400 runs, you can expect on average everyone goes at 8 and over. So that's what I mean in context. In that context, Trent Bolt might go for 8.5 or maybe 7.8 or something like that. Yeah, no, I mean, I have that much confidence in Trent Bolt. Colin de Gronholm. Okay, he is wow, he's 32 years old. He's older than Trent Bolt. Okay. Um Obviously a power hitter. He has the ability to actually give the innings a very important boost, and also take the game away from the opposition side. In terms of the bowling, here's something we've seen this in New Zealand. At least I've seen this in the New Zealand games where Bangladesh were the visiting side. Just before the attacks. Okay, Colin de Gronholm can actually bowl with a decent amount of swing. Now, will that swing in these conditions with his medium pace be effective against better prepared sides like South Africa, like India, like England, and like Australia? We'll see. If he's clever about it, he has the potential to be one of the most effective all-rounders in this tournament. Mark my words. Because I've also noticed that Colin de Granholm, he's actually starting to come good in terms of his bowling skills. He's starting to develop his bowling skills a bit more compared to the very first time I saw. I think the very first time I saw was like 2017 or something like that. 2016, 2017, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Next, Lockie Ferguson. This is one person I am looking forward to as well. See, New Zealand have an exciting pace bowling attack. Okay, and okay, I must be thinking of someone else. But yeah, Lockie Ferguson, he's the bowler. I believe he can get the ball up to like 150k. And in these conditions, we saw like sometimes when bowlers, even if they get the ball to 150k, if they can't control the line of the ball right, if they can't maintain that pressure with 150k, if they can't vary it enough, Muhammad Hasnain, um, then there's no point of the 150k. You might as well be bowling 130k, but in a controlled line and length fashion instead of 150k and all over the place. Because if it's all over the place, the quicker the ball comes, the quicker the ball is gonna leave the bat either off the middle or off the edge and go to the boundary. And the stupider you look. But Lockie Ferguson, he's relatively, I would say, still a little inexperienced, but still, if he can get the proper tutelage and proper support and advice and guidance from people more experienced like Trent Bolt and Tim Southee, if Lockie Ferguson is playing that match, I would say he's also someone to look out for. Martin Guptill, he is going to be the most, I have a feeling, the most influential batsman in New Zealand. He's 30 years old, has one more World Cup in him. Because this man, mark my words, in fact, doesn't he have a 240 against Australia, against West Indies? Yeah, granted it was in a cricket ground that was the size of, that was like, maybe half the size of a swimming pool or something like that, but it was the basin reserve. It was just like I've like maybe the size of two basins, or like 5 basins, placed in a circular orientation or something. But yeah, still that counts. That shows he has the big hitting abilities. So he is one of the most impactful players, one of the most significant players of New Zealand in this tournament. I'm sorry, I have to keep time because I have to be done by a certain time. Okay, next, Matt Henry, also a handy bowler, not as effective as Trent Bolt or a Tim Southee, but I would say a bit more controlled than Lockie Ferguson, just with a little less pace. So he can be useful in the middle overs. The problem is, are you looking to get wickets in the middle overs, or are you just looking to like stall the game along in the middle overs? If you're looking to get wickets in the middle overs, I don't think Matt Henry is the person. At least not from what I've seen. He has the potential to get a wicket here and there. Like he might even have a good day, get like 3, 4, maybe a 5-wicket haul. But in the long scheme of things, because this tournament is minimum 9 games long and maximum 11 games long, not counting the warm-up games. So in the long run, I don't think he's going to be as significant. Tom Latham, yes, this is the So Tom Blundell or Brundle did not change his name. Okay, yes, this is the other batsmen. Okay, I thought he was an opening batsman. Wasn't Tom Latham an opening batsman? But yeah, he's also been in pretty. I wouldn't say like Rohit Sharma type form or Shikhar Dhawan type form or Johnny Bairstow type form or Joss Butler type form or whatnot, but he's been in decent form of late, and especially in batting friendly conditions. New Zealand, I believe they will have at least one total that passes 400, and that will be on the back of Tom Layton, Martin Guptill, and or Kane Williamson. Okay, Colin Monroe, his star has dipped a little bit, hasn't it? Because I have a feeling people have started to figure him out. So, for some reason, my gut instinct tells me, although he has the ability to be a power hitter, I don't think I don't think he's going to be as effective. Although, if like recently of late, he's starting to slowly transition into like a run compiler. If he wants to hold that run compiler position, and yes, trust me, your teams need run compilers. If he can hold down a run compiler role, I'm all for it. But uh, you never know. There might be other people waiting in the ranks. Jimmy Neesham, wow. Oh, I thought he's 30. Yeah, he's not even 30. Uh, Jimmy Neesham, supposed batting all rounder. Um, okay, he's one of the replaceable people. Like you will see him for a few games, but I think New Zealand. This is just what I think. New Zealand will not stick with Jimmy Neesham, with James Neesham, throughout the nine games. Especially like if they lose a few games. And believe me, I don't I don't think New Zealand goes in this undefeated. If they do, you know what? Hats off to them. It's about damn time. They actually win a World Cup. Okay, Henry Nichols. ODIs. Henry Nichols in ODIs. I'm not too sure about him. Like yes, what I've seen of him in Test cricket, he's actually a pretty consistent batsman. But in ODI cricket, where the ball bounces a bit more, where like you have a bit more pace on the ball, uh, maybe he's one of those rotatable players. Okay. Mitchell Santner, one of the left arm spinners, and apparently he's in the top 5 or top 10 of the ICC World's top ODI all rounders. The 27-year-old. Um, you know what? I wouldn't call him a utility spinner. He's a spinner with utility uh, physical abilities, but with much more than average psychological abilities. Because I have a feeling he's in that line of outsmarting the batsman. Like like he's in that of a frame of he's in that vein of basically causing the batsman to make a mistake based on mind games that Mitchell Santner plays. So any team playing cannot take Mitchell Santner lightly, because the moment you take Mitchell Santner lightly, there's a very high chance, no matter who you are going to lose your wicket. Okay. Ish Sodhi. Sorry to say this, utility leg spinner. That's all I'll have to say. I mean, yeah, if you need a second spinner, he can hold it down. But at this point, what I've seen of him, uh, more often than not, what he's gonna give you in this tournament is perhaps holding down an end. And it's actually been a bit disappointing because Ish Sodhi has been around for a while, so I expected a bit better from Sodhi. Anyways, on his day he can be an effective spinner, but let's see. Tim Southey, I would say the fourth impact player after Kane Williamson, Martin Guptill, Trent Bolt. Tim Southey, and this is the person who can guide a Lockie Ferguson, like along with Trent Bolt, a Lockie Ferguson and a Matt Henry, to help them get through those middle overs. Okay. The problem is if he gets it wrong, the few times he gets it wrong, he really really does get it wrong. But more often than not, I have a feeling he does get it right, and he will make life difficult for batsmen even on these conditions because he's experienced enough to know how to bowl on absolutely docile pitches. And finally, we have Ross Taylor. This is, I believe, his last World Cup. 35 years old. Okay, I'm sorry, I might not consider him an impact player, but here's the thing: he will be the strongest compiler of runs for New Zealand, and I believe he is the one who can guide a person like Colin Munro a lot based on his experience alone. Although Ross Taylor, like maybe not in an explosive form, but still his experience and his amount of runs, I believe, like he holds some New Zealand records as well. I think he's like highest runs for New Zealand or something. They speak for themselves in terms of his consistency and what he can deliver. And given that this is his last World Cup, I am very sure he will be wanting to go out on a high note. Okay, my overall assessment of New Zealand, this is, I would say, a very strong semi-final contender. But beyond that, it is difficult to say. I'm not saying it's not possible, but very strong semi-final contender. Their team is well balanced. Their their weakness is all once again their spin department, although not by much. But their problem is they don't have any explosive players. That's their problem. However, as an overall team, they have a whole number of better than average players, which as a team makes them very, very strong. Because I mentioned this, I believe, yesterday in another form, but I'll just make it bit more clear. Instead of having one or two explosive players, if you have eight or nine more than average players, I have a feeling they can deliver much more for the team than those one or two explosive players, and the rest of them are just mediocre players or utility players. All right, that's about it, guys. Let me know what you think about the New Zealand squad picked for this World Cup and how far do you see them going. And as always, hit that like and subscribe button, that bell notification button, and leave a comment. This is your boy, the Entertainment on the side, the Bengal Dragon, signing out.